So I'm also on the Acid Watcher support group, and a question that I see a lot is people ask, like, how long did it take to be on the diet to notice any improvement? So as I was saying, I was on this diet loosely for a month and then compliant on it for another month, making it about 2 months being on this diet. For more of a better understanding of the timeline of what I went through, I was on the little handout that the doctor gave me, and on Zantac and Prilosec, and also max antacids for 1 month. Things weren't getting better, so the next thing on the timeline was adding this and just following it loosely for another month. So that makes 2 months. You've probably seen some of my old videos where I was having yogurt and chocolate. So that was actually when I was very, very loosely on this. So I decided to treat myself with the yogurt and chocolate, and that threw me off being compliant on this diet. But for the most part, I was eating things like oatmeal with bananas, which is healing phase appropriate. I was eating things like chicken and spinach with rice. I gotta have my rice. And all those are healing phase acceptable, as long as there's no acidic condiments. And I just seasoned everything with salt and basil and marjoram. Those were my key seasonings. And cinnamon was also another key seasoning I had. All of those herbs have to be cooked, supposedly, according to this book, for it to be compliant on healing phase. So yeah, okay. So after that yogurt, which was really tasty, by the way, but after that yogurt thing, I couldn't say I was completely compliant on it. So then around January 14, 16, that's when I decided to kick myself really hardcore and be as compliant as I know to be. There's a lot of things that I might have missed in this book, but from what I understood, I think I was pretty compliant on it for another 28 days. And when that 28 days went by, I was celebrating. I was like, yeah, I can finally eat like real food. But then, like, I know this is a lifelong diet. I have to be on this diet for the rest of my life. So as you saw, I celebrated at Marcello's. This was like I think a few days actually after the 28 healing phase. But when I went to Marcello's, I realized how hard it was to eat out. So I bought all these calcium granules, which are supposed to be like alkalizing granules. I don't know if it works. They're not recommended on the book. So if you want to follow this to the T, don't try alkalizing your food with alkalizing granules, because it's not certain if it works. But that's what I did on that one day. I honestly didn't have any problems on that one day. After the 28 days, I figured, hey, let's get off Zantac. Because as I said before, I was on Zantac and Prilosec. I forgot to mention that after the Zantac and Prilosec fiasco and bugging my ENTs until they no longer wanted to see me anymore, I got switched over to Nexium. And Nexium felt a little stronger, but it wasn't helping much. I think the diet helped more. Yeah, actually, honestly, now that I think about it, like Nexium, you can kind of feel the effects, but it never really made anything better. It just kind of prevented things from getting out of hand. But I still took it anyways because it kind of kept things in control. But it was really the diet that lowered the burning. So now I don't have this like sensation of somebody like jabbing my throat and digging a hole in my esophagus. I do have phlegming still. I do have dryness. I do have the coughs. Along with my timeline, I had, what was it? Oh yeah, I started to bloat real bad. This was a new symptom that I haven't had before. So the globus disappeared in the globus, because this new symptom that I'm going to tell you sounds like globus, but I don't think it is. So globus is a sensation of a lump in your throat, and when you eat, you can literally feel like the food just stuck in your throat and probably slowly going down, but for the most part, it just feels like your esophagus is bent. At least that's how it felt like for me. It felt like it was bent and the food just wouldn't go down. So that feeling I had in the beginning, and it disappeared in 2 weeks being hardcore on this diet. And I started getting really, really optimistic. So I even wrote like kind of like a half success story on the forum. But I realize now I shouldn't have done that because not all my symptoms have gone. And then so after 2 weeks, I got really excited. I became pretty happy about the diet. And then I noticed the burning going down and I got even more excited. And so I decided to get off the medication and switch over to Zantac because I heard that rebound acid is just horrible if you just go off Prilosec or Nexium or any other PPIs. So I transitioned to Zantac. Immediately I felt some rebound acid effects, and that rebound acid effect was just very, very mild throat burn, but nothing like how it was in the beginning. The bloat. It felt like my esophagus was bloating, and it felt like food was being trapped right here, down here. Like it wasn't like my LES. I don't know if this is actually happening, but this is what it felt like. It felt like my LES was not letting food down, so the food was just sitting on my LES valve. That's what it felt like. And it was just piling up, and I wasn't even eating much. I was eating a kid bento size lunch, and it still felt like there was food stuck all the way up here. And so I kept going on and off on Nexium, and it would do the bloat thing would go on and off. It didn't change the burn, but eventually going back on Nexium didn't even change the bloat. So I completely went off Nexium, still taking Zantac. Nothing has gotten worse, so that's a good sign. This bloat thing still going on, and the cough. So that's pretty much where we are today when I'm recording this video. Those are my current symptoms. Mild phlegming, a bloated sensation, a bloated esophagus sensation as if there's like gas buildup or food buildup that's trying to stretch my esophagus open, and the cough that you're hearing. So when I say this diet was a success, like I said, I've heard some people say they have to be on this for like 6 months before they were completely healed. So I'm going to follow the acid watch your diet principles. I plan to be on this for the rest of my life, unless I find a diet that completely dispels everything that's said in this diet. But the next step for me, and looking at my notes, so the next step for me is I'm open to other suggestions, other diets. I've recently heard about Fast Track, and Fast Track has almost opposite principle of this, but I've heard people combining both the Fast Track and acid wash your diet. So that's what I am going to do. I'm going to try. I'm still human. I have a hard time being 100% compliant on low carbish diets, but the Fast Track diet is basically a diet where you count fermentation potential points, and a lot of carbs have fermentation issues where it causes bloating. And so the idea is that food that ferments in your stomach causes bloating, which causes your LES to open, and that's what causes GERD and LPR. So I'm just going to slowly try to incorporate that. There are supplements that I've been recommended, and I'm slowly trying them out right now as well. Before, I couldn't try any of the supplements. It just gave me terrible burns, like the DGL licorice. That helps a lot of people, but for some reason it gave me throat burns. Now that the throat burn is almost barely not there anymore, I brought back in the DGL licorice, and I'm feeling a lot better on it, but I can't tell if it's helping. I almost feel like it's not negligible, and if it was making my throat burn previously, I don't think it's good in the long run for me. So I might set that DGL licorice thing aside. Now there's this other supplement that's very controversial, which could either make things worse or make things better, and that is D-limonene. D-limonene is made from the extract of the orange peel. Now, Dr. Koufman says that orange peels are okay. It's the juice of the orange that's acidic. So orange peels in moderation is okay, but this is literally an extract from the peel. And from the reviews I read, it's very split. It's a split between people saying this was a miracle cure, and a split between people saying it gave them the worst burns in their life and they ended up in the ER. Overall, there's Also other things like slippery elm that I'm trying now, and I think that actually kind of helps. It really coats. If you leave it in water for a while, it becomes this kind of gelatinous liquid, and that really helps coat the throat and the stomach. It doesn't really stay in the throat actually, to be honest, but it coats the stomach, and I think that's helping. But I'm not sure because obviously I'm still coughing, right? I still have LPR. So I really hate to give concrete answers. I hate to come up with a conclusion when this is just like the beginning of my journey. But the safest thing that I can say is I plan to be on the acid watcher for life, with some adjustments. Meaning probably mostly on the maintenance version of this. But if I notice any regressions, I'll definitely go back to the healing phase. And of course, everyone has their own trigger foods. So I'm keeping a food diary and recording what could be potential trigger foods. Yeah, so that's it. I'm sorry if I'm jumping all over the place. I don't want to make this video any longer. So I wrote in my notes that I'll be testing out other dietary lifestyles and supplement recommendations, but I do not want to disclose what they are until I've tested them long enough to see if they help or not. I kind of already disclosed what I was trying out, but I'm not disclosing everything that I plan to try out just because I don't want to make people here confused about what works and what doesn't. And what will end up working for me may not end up working for you. So I don't want to be liable for inconsistencies and things like that. But just do know that I'm trying my best to get over this LPR. It may never happen, I don't know, which is terrifying to think of. But, you know, I'm human. Humans have things that just aren't explainable always. I mean, nutrition science is still in its infancy. There's just so many contradictions. You don't know what really works for the individual, especially since there's so much diversity. This is becoming very long, so I'm gonna just end this with what I said in my notes. Of course, I am human and I will have an off day. And I will have slip-ups, especially when, you know, I have these family, I wouldn't say family reunions, but every year we celebrate my dad's mom's birthday at a restaurant, and it's kind of a huge deal. So I have a hard time seeing myself getting out of that. And I want to see my grandma. I want to, you know, be with my family. So I have a feeling that is going to be when I slip up, when I'll probably be off the acid watch diet. But like I said, I am human. I will have slip-ups. I will have my cravings, and then I'll regret it. But when I fall down, I'm going to pull myself up. I'm going to pick myself up. I make so many mistakes, and I admit my mistakes. I admit I'm not perfect. And I have, my boyfriend calls it the Cheshire cat look. Like, I gave him the, like, the creepy smile. And I don't know if you noticed, but I have vampire teeth. So he calls it the Cheshire cat smile. I give him that look when I know I did something wrong on my diet. I couldn't help it, but I did it anyways. I will be honest if I slip up. I'm human. But even when I slip up, I always get back on the wagon. That's just my personality. Because if I don't go back on the wagon, I would regret it and I would feel really bad. I have this intense kind of guilty conscious thing, and people don't understand it because they always say, like, you didn't do anything wrong. Why do you have to feel guilty? But that's just, I guess, my personality. I focus on the things that you can control and accept the things that you cannot change. That's my biggest philosophy, is acceptance, commitment therapy. You know, diffusion of negative thoughts. And like I said, accept the things that you cannot control and work on the things that you can control. And I repeated myself. For the most part, I'll try to be compliant, but I know that's not guaranteed. So I'll give myself a 90% rule. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. This video was way long overdue. Congratulations if you watched this all the way through. I doubt anyone will watch this all the way through. But this is my long, epic experience with the acid watcher and Dr. Koufman combination variation type diet. And I plan on discovering more things to help me overcome this LPR. I plan to further educate myself, continue to look at new PubMed articles, and yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed my very, very long talk. But please stay tuned for more videos. I always say this, but I'll say it again. I promise this will be the last video where I talk very longly and deeply about this LPR thing. I will still try to focus this channel towards healthy eating kind of lifestyle / vlogging. But yeah, for the most part, for the next upcoming videos, I plan to do a challenge video and just continue making videos following my life and videos following my dietary lifestyles, which would mean recipes. And these recipes aren't always going to be the most delicious recipes, but the recipes that have helped me stick with the acid water diet or any other diet that I plan to be on in the future. So stay tuned for those things. But with a health channel, I always have to put that annoying disclaimer. I don't know. You'll see. I'll be uploading things. I think you know what direction I'm headed from what you've seen in the past already. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And yeah, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below. Share this video with your friends. And did I say subscribe yet? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Bye.